Like, what was the initial feeling and the initial plan when you left at such a young age?
To be honest with you, like the initial plan was to. It came as a surprise to me as well, and it was a very, very fast decision. I was feeling. I mean, I've been feeling lost kind of most of my life, but back then I was feeling very lost.
Like all of us.
I just finished like my studies and stuff. What?
I said like all of us.
like most of us. I mean, we're just humans here. On the same boat, and we love it. Do we? No. We do.
Yes, we do.
Sorry, back on track. So I was feeling lost. I wanted to change, and I've been to London before, like for a few days that same year. I've decided to move here, but funnily enough, I didn't like it. I was there for like 2 days and didn't have a good experience. But then, I was yearning for an escape. If I'm being honest, I was yearning to change my life completely. I felt a bit stuck. I didn't know what to do with myself, with my life. Like I was saying earlier, I finished my studies. I did the same school as you, the sound engineering course. And then I did an EP in my room. Then I was in a band back then, which you recorded, which split up. Then I was solo for a bit. I recorded an EP in my room. And then I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't want to study. I want to be a musician, full-time musician. I don't see that happening here. So I really don't know why. I think in my mind it was like, this is the capital of like rock music. And a lot of the music I listened to were like English. So it was either the US or English, and England is so much more closer to France. So I think I've decided like to move there a month prior moving there. So it was really shocking even to my family and my parent, my mom and stuff. She was like, oh, all right. But I'm lucky enough that I have a really supportive family. But but mainly it was to escape myself and to figure out what was going on. What was this? What was all of this? Who I was? I didn't know who I was. So this was the beginning. For me, this was the beginning of the journey. To be honest, I mean,
it still made sense regarding what you were trying to achieve, right? Becoming a full-time musician. It still made sense the move, like you said, with the music culture there, like and probably the scene. I mean, we call it the scene in French. I don't know if we call it in English, but the live scene is probably way more
the scene,
more present and important.
Broad.
in especially in London.
No, I mean, in France, if you want to do that, you have to go to Paris.
Yeah.
It's because this is the biggest thing. But even back then, I mean, I was writing only in English. I wanted to learn. I always loved the English language. I was okay at school at it and stuff. I couldn't hold a conversation though. Once I arrived, and so there was a lot of learning curves. Like the first year was so chaotic. I spent so much money. I went into so many shit situations. I got fired. There's a lot of things that happened, but then I wouldn't take it back for anything. I got absolutely no regrets. This was such a learning curve, and I'm glad I did it. It was really rock and roll that year.
So when you arrived there, did you have a job? Did you have somewhere? Did you have any kind of plan or not at all? So it was really just like rock and roll. How was that like first year in terms of not necessarily what you were doing, because you were just like trying to adapt and things, but just like mentally, how were you feeling? Like were you homesick in that first year? Were you kind of like enjoying that escape that you were getting? Like how were you mentally on that first year?
But it was mixed feelings for sure. And I went there with the idea of working in a music studio, like in a recording studio. So I don't know why I did that, but I bought a map of London prior to this, and then I wrote down all the studios, and I printed my CVs and stuff before going to to London. But obviously, I was being very, very hopeful, too hopeful, because to be honest, I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even speak English. And I remember the first studio I went at, I was so scared to just enter in, and I was rehearsing my text to drop the CV. I was like, sorry, looking for a job in music studio is on my CV. And of course, this is such a close business. Like, I had no chances to get hired as in the studio. But I spent the first week basically spending whole day long in the tube going from one side of the other of London, and I was sleeping in a youth hostel for like 6-7 days. Then after 3-4 days I was like bloody tired of like all the transport, and I spent so much money as well. Like, so I was like literally burning money because so much transports all day long. Like, I was spending like 50 pounds like a day to just transport, then food, and then the hostel was expensive and stuff. But then it quickly, after I think 10-12 days, I lowered my standards as for a job, and then I found a job as a kitchen porter. I found a place first. I found a place to live with like 5 other people, and then I found a kitchen porter job. You know, kitchen porter is when you're washing the dishes in a restaurant, basically in the kitchen. So great job to learn English. No, it wasn't. But I was on my own with all the fucking plates. It's so, oh my god, this is like, I think the times where I was the most angry was in front of this fucking pile of plates. Dirty plates. It kept on coming forever, and you're like ling. It's like, oh my god, so many stimulus. You're not going fucking crazy. But thank God I only stayed 2 weeks in that job, and then I found like Starbucks. So yeah, to answer your question, I've been a bit going further into the story here, but to answer your question, yeah, I did. After a few days, so doing all of this, I did feel like it was not achievable. After like 3 days, I was like, that's it, I gave up. My brain was like, I give up. I broke down in tears in the nights, in the hostel, like night after like the second night or something, broke down in tears. I was like, okay, I will never be able to learn English. This was silly. I'm going back to France. So it was like a big giving up, but then I carried on for some reason. But then I was like, I can't come back. It will be too difficult for me to come back and be like facing everyone almost. It was not even for me, which is a bit bad, because back then I was still yearning for the approval of others, but I was like, I can't come back, basically. I can't come back. I have to make this through. And
so it's an interesting thing, like it's a first interesting not necessarily lesson, but like feeling that we have on like when we're facing like a complicated situation, but going back was even more, felt like it was even more painful than not making this work.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, but yeah, I'm glad I pushed through, to be honest, because this was the thing to do. But
after how long you started to feel okay, like you started to feel adapted and start like your life came back together a little bit, like some kind of if it ever happened in the first year, because like for me it did not, but
in the first year, to be honest, I think it did not.